Well, welcome everyone, and a pleasant good evening to everyone. And this is Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition show, and I'm James Slim Overton, and I'm here with some special guests. Here on Coffee Talk, we like to feature HBCUs, and we've had, and especially the alumni associations, and we've had Norfolk State up here, and we've had Virginia Union, and I think we've had Virginia Union up here more times, but that's my privilege. I run this show, so you know how that goes. But don't blame me. But anyway, we love to have. We've had Virginia State and Elizabeth City. So I was so pleased to hear from Wilma Bond about Delaware Delaware State, Dell State, and had a chapter here locally. And I said, okay, wow, let's bring them on and let them talk about their alumni association and whatever fundraisers might be coming up, and you never know, it's probably plenty other alums in the area that you haven't gotten together with you all yet, and hopefully they'll see this show at some time and say, oh, let me try to get in touch with them. I want to be a part of that. And I like the competition that we have sometime when I bring these associations on, because we all have gone to different different HBCUs, and the competition is always pretty stiff there. I understand you all are in the MEAC, and we are in the CIAA. Of course, we do play some of the MEAC people every once in a while. We used to play Norfolk State and beat them up all the time, but it's just good to have that, and we all have uh, a common experience with each one of our HBCUs. Once we start talking, we sound like one big HBCU because the experience is so common. So, Wilma, I want to thank you for getting in touch with us, and we talked a lot and little gaps in between, and we finally made it happen. So, I'm gonna let you introduce the other two guests here. And by the way, Wilma is the treasurer of the association, and we have the president and the vice president here. So, Wilma, introduce our special guest here, along with
Yes,
yourself.
well, first of all, yes, well, first of all, thank you so much again, Mr. Overton, for allowing us to come on your show.
Thanks
And
for being.
this evening, I have with me our president, Mrs. Honoria Weatherly. Also, she is my sorority sister, and I have the vice president, Monta Fennell, and she's also my sorority sister.
Oh,
So
how'd that
we are
happen?
the good Lord provided it to happen that way,
That,
and we are
that's
so
almost
grateful.
like
And
me having. That's almost like me having my association on more times than anybody else. A little favoritism there.
yes, yes. So again, it's a pleasure
No,
for
that's
us
how it
to be
works out.
here on your show.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I appreciate you agreeing to come here. Yeah. Go ahead and introduce. Well, anyway, you did introduce him. So let's start with Madam President. Could you give us a little history of your association, or maybe you want to start with the, excuse me, the university? Uh, Looks like it's 1891
That's
when you
right.
started,
That's
and
correct.
Delaware College for colored students.
That's right. So, thank you so much again, Mr. Overton, for having us. And I would be remiss if I did not speak about our beloved university. We were established on May 15th, 1891. And at the time, the name of the university was the College of Colored Students, Delaware College for Colored Students. But now we are proudly Delaware State University.
College student.
I'm sorry, that's feedback. Go ahead. I have about three screens I watch. Go ahead.
That's all right. But in 1983, 93, the name of the institution was changed to State College for College Students, and they maintained that name for 54 years. But in 1947, the name of the institution changed to Delaware State College and remained so until 1993. I'm proud of that because although I have two diplomas, my initial diploma says Delaware State College. But in 1993, the governor, Thomas Carper, signed the name change into law and thusly changed the name of our university to Delaware State University. Um, at this time, we have been, at just recently, as a week ago, we were named among the top premier HBCUs in the country. We're number 10. We sit at number 10. While we serve a very diverse student population, uh, we we have undergrad studies are organized into 4 colleges. They contain 17 academic departments, which offer 8 associate degrees, 47 bachelor's degrees, 24 master's degrees, and 7 doctoral degrees. So we're pretty proud of that. And as of the fall of 2023, we stand at enrollment of about 6,500 students, and our physical infrastructure has grown from 1991, I'm sorry, 1891, I'm sorry, to a 100-acre property. We now, with 3 buildings, to now standing with a beautiful 356-acre pedestrian campus with over 50 billion buildings, 4 outdoor athletic fields. We own 2 farm properties in Kenton and Smyrna, Delaware, uh, a location in Wilmington, Delaware. Our aviation program has its own fleet of planes and a base operation at the Delaware Air Park in Cheswold, Delaware. And we are most proud, as of late, that downtown DSU campus was through the acquisition of Wesley College in 2021. So we have a lot to be proud of.
Okay, what a rich history! Like most of our HBCUs have that rich history. And so, what? How long has the association been together here in the Hampton Roads area?
Well, the Greater Hampton Roads chapter was established on May 20th, 2006.
Oh,
And
okay, that's pretty
we
recent.
yes, we have a slogan that we like to tell everybody: we're small but mighty. And we have less than 300 members in the chapter, with 5 life members and 1 honorary member. But we know that we have many more alumni here in this area, and we're hoping that they're going to hear us tonight and they're going to join our chapter. And I guess I should be proudly to say that just 3 weeks ago, we were awarded the chapter of the year for small size. So we are very proud of the philanthropic we do in the community, how we give back. And I certainly will let our vice president tell you a little bit more about some of the philanthropic things that we do.
Okay, Madam Vice President.
Good evening, everyone. So, one of the we are avid supporters of the Do-Gooders of Hampton Roads, and they're located over in the Newport News Hampton area. And what we do is we provide backpacks, school supplies, and meals during Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we kind of support their effort when they do good within the Hampton Roads area. We also assist in the cleaning of the Black cemetery, historical Black cemeteries that's in the Tidewater Peninsula area. And we also help them to erect and we distribute flags to the tombs on veterans on Memorial Day. So, we really try to give back, not just with fundraising, but also support in the community service. And so I would like to tell you a little bit about our current fundraiser that we're doing that will be taking place in August. So that's what we really want to promote this evening. So that's called our Strikes for Scholarships. And that's going to occur on August the 10th, which is only a few weeks away. It will occur between the hours of 2 and 4 and at the location of the Bolero, which is located in Chesapeake, 3101 Lyndhurst Boulevard, which is off of the Pewsville exit. So it's right off of 664. And what we're hoping to do is secure teams of 6 persons for $50 per person. And that pricing includes 2 hours of bowling, your bowling shoes, unlimited drinks, and 2 menu items. So we're really hoping that people will come out and support us. This will enable us to support our students on campus and also any area students that may be seeking to matriculate to the university. So we're looking for family, friends, HBCU, sorority, fraternities. We'd love to have you all.
Oh, okay. So it could be unlimited. Well, it was had to be limited at some point, but number of teams. And we talked about the competition between HBCU. What a great opportunity for
Absolutely.
the alumni associations in the Hampton Roads area to
Absolutely.
step up and take on that challenge. I think you kind of put out there, especially for the alumni, but and the sororities and anybody else who wants to form a group to come out there. But
Yes.
really, it would be nice to for our other alumni in the area to take on that challenge and it's all about helping each other, help them,
Absolutely.
help our universities. And that's what the alumni associations are all about, trying to give back to what they gave to us,
Absolutely.
and if it wasn't for that initial, uh, like the Madam President says, she has degrees from different other places, but that start at DLU was the beginning of her greatness. So we always have to remember and give back. None of our HBCUs should be struggling with the amount of alums that probably walked those halls or came through or got those degrees, just giving back something. So it's a task sometimes getting everybody really involved, but it's worth the fight, I believe. So
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
yeah. So
And
how do people sign up to be a part of this, and is there a deadline? So what's all the details there?
Absolutely. So the deadline is August the 2nd. We do have a flyer, but they can contact and Anoria, can you give your email again for me, please?
sure, it's GHRDSUAAPRES@gmail.com. And I believe that the request is that the names of the team be sent to that email address, and the flyer stipulates how to send the payments for your team per team. So it's a 6-man team, and we are going to throw out the gauntlet because our chapter, we have a team, and we are looking for all other alumni association chapters here in the area to come and try to beat us out. But we've got a team and we're ready. But we definitely want to be able to support all of our community partner endeavors. And that, if I may, Mr. Overton, I want to segue to Wilma Bond, because she has also one of the opportunities for us is that there is in partnership for us, at least from the university perspective. Wilma has introduced us, our chapter, to an organization that we're very, very proud of in the area, the Youth Aeronautics Education Fund. And so I'm going to give her an opportunity to talk about that because, one, it is near and dear to our chapter because we have been promoting them, and we certainly want to make sure that our students in the area of Tidewater and the peninsula is aware of this opportunity. But we support them not only because we believe in the program, but it also gives us an opportunity to hopefully send students to the aviation program at Delaware State University, which we're very proud of. And so we want to talk about that opportunity as well, because this particular fundraiser also helps us to um, uh, sponsor some funding for this particular program as well.
And Wilma, before you talk about that, I want to. I think this is important too. And Wilma is a nurse, so if you accept this challenge, and most of our alums have been around for a long time, and you've been sitting a lot of time on the couch. You might want now. You might think that you can get up and start bowling, and that would be easy. I did that one time after I hadn't bowled in years, and my knees hurt for the next 3 weeks. So you might want to do some walking or something or stretching or something before you get out there, and you haven't been doing anything. And I just want to make that point. I don't want Wilma to have to go into action at the bowling alley. But yeah, I just thought that was fun to mention though. But Wilma, go ahead and
Thank
talk
you.
about the program that Madam President was telling you about.
Oh yes, well we're not as young as we used to be, and we're getting a little wiser. So we
Mm.
will definitely prepare our team in being prepared
Mm.
and taking on this voting challenge.
So
But
you're
yes,
gonna be
as
ready for us. You're gonna be ready
yes,
for us. That's what you're
yes,
saying.
yes,
Okay.
we're going to be ready. Yes, but as our Madam President was stating, is that we 5 years now, we have been a partnership with, it's called YAEF, Youth Aeronautics Educational Foundation. And it was founded back in 2007 by Mr. Samuel and Marilyn Billings. It's something he always cherished as a kid when he was growing up in New Jersey, and he never had the opportunity to fly. So they moved to this area, and they wanted to do something in the STEM field, also to help underserved children. So, as I stated, this program has been in existence since 2007, and they have three different programs. They do a summer program every summer for youth, and they also have a drone program, and they have a flight program, and they have about, I think, 3 students now that have completed the FAA licensure. And from that program, a lot of the students will end up wanting to become pilots and also go to HBCUs. Excuse me, as our president stated, Delaware State University has 26 of their own planes. And we are really trying to help motivate these students to matriculate into Delaware State, because Delaware State has the best program on the East Coast. And as a freshman, they are starting to fly, where if they're attending the other institution, not stating, they may not have that opportunity. So Delaware State has a lot to offer, and they have like 3 different programs as well for the pilot. But getting back to our YAEF, every August they have an annual, it's called the Young Wing Golf Tournament, and they're going to be having that on August the 17th, starting I think at 8 o'clock, and then the program will start at 12 noon, and we are always in attendance. We also set up our DSU table and speak to the students and encourage them, and we also provide a donation towards this program. So we are very excited. We support them throughout the year and things that they're needing. We will be there for them, and they always look forward for us participating. And we have our own golfers, and we have actually I spoke with a gentleman yesterday, and he's hoping that we'll have 12 golfers this year to participate and support this golf tournament. So like our president stated, we are in partnership with them, and we truly is excited to help these students move on to the various HBCUs. And if all goes as planned, we will hopefully have 1 student from the program that will be attending Delaware State University next year. That's the school of choice, and that's where he wants to go. So we as a chapter are going to do everything we can to help this young man to matriculate into a Delaware State University aviation program.
Wow, that's amazing. And Delaware, Dale State, being if I'm not mistaken, a privately owned but uh, state funded. Just like Virginia Union, privately owned. We don't get the state funds like a Norfolk State or Virginia State. Which are state run colleges. But a lot of that money has to be raised ourselves. So how is that program really funded? It comes through uh, just a general fund, or is it a special fund from the state that?
Actually, Delaware State is a state supported
Yes.
school. institution.
Is
We
it?
are a land granted university. And I will tell you that we do an enormous amount of fundraising, but I will tell you that since the inception of the aviation program, they have made a name for themselves because not only are they flying and students are walking directly in. We have a one of the greatest, largest partnership with United Airlines. Many of the students in the aviation program are walking directly into United Airlines, American Airlines, etc. The aviation program also is constitutes for other airline hospitality, management, etc. But one of the things that's most noted is the fact that we have those fleet of planes that we own, and those students are flying those planes. In fact, a year ago, we took students from this area, maybe 2 years ago, we took students from this area that were interested and or a part of YAEF up to the aviation program, and they got to fly with some of the student pilots in those very planes that we own. They were able to go to the simulation room. They were able to go to the mechanics room and see and learn what the students are learning in terms of aviation mechanics, the flight deck. And so it was a wonderful experience, not only for those students, but for those of us that attended as well. This particular, as I said earlier, this particular program has its own campus, if you will. They literally have their own hangar, their own runway. All of the planes reside at this particular location. So we're pretty proud.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry about the blunder about the being privately owned, being state institution. And I was going to ask you, and you answered the question, how do you all track the success of, the students that come through that program? Because we have to make sure those people that get on TV and say, when I see a black pilot, I get nervous. We want to make sure that, that most people that get on there know that they're in good hands because they've had the proper training.
Absolutely. And we would like for Mr. Musk to come to Chesval,
yeah.
and see.
That's what I was talking about.
And Mr. Musk needs to come to see the fleet of planes that we have. And we love to say that they're red tails because all of those planes have a red tail. They have been painted red. Of course, our colors are Columbia blue and red, but they have red tails in honor of the Tuskegee air pilots. So we're proud of that program. We're proud of our institution, but certainly our partnership with YAEF has been because we love Mr. Billings and what he's doing with that program, but we also want to extend those students' experience to be able to go to Delaware State University.
Yes, and I may add along with Madam President is that last fall they started a new program where students can they are ROTC students of the Army, and it's called the Professional Helicopter Pilot program now that they have at Delaware State, and it's fully funded by the ROTC in the Army. And so these students, like Madam President said, they're coming in, getting the training, and then they're leaving, going into the Army, and then once they leave there, they can go to these different other airlines and get jobs.
As well as, I might add, they also have a partnership with NASA, and they are working with the location in Shingatig, Virginia. And so for me, that is a spot of pride because I am a product of the Eastern Shore of Virginia.
Yes. And actually, in 2019, we had the former aviation department, Lieutenant Colonel Hales, to fly down with Dr. Michoud and do a presentation to the YAEF out at the Middle Peninsula Regional Airport near West Point. So that was very nice too.
And I want to go just away from that just a minute. Our Alumni Association, one of the things we did, we had to identify the students from this area that were attending the university, say for instance, in the band, because we supported them, and the football team and the students in general. How successful have y'all been identifying students or alums that well, students that attend there that you can directly support?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that question. Sometimes it's a little hairy in this day and age with uh, protection of profiles and information. However, what we do is there is a section, just like any other university, I would imagine, HBCUs, we have Facebook and other social media outlets where we have a parents group and things of that nature. We reach out there. Our National Alumni Association has been fantastic about collaborating with the students and being able to have a portal for students to be able to put their information in, and then be able to provide that information to all of the various affinity groups or chapters that we have. One of the things that we're planning to do in the next two weeks is that we have several of our chapter members who are former Hornet football team members, and we have had them to tap into the Hornet Nation and understand which incoming freshmen have been matriculated or begun to matriculate on campus and have started in on the football team. What we have found is that there are 3 students that will be moving on campus in the next week or so. And we are going to do a senior send off with them. It'll be virtual because the the distance is vast for our chapter, but we have 1 in the greater Washington area and 2 in the Richmond area. And so we want to welcome them to the fold, and as well as to welcome their parents, to be able to be a liaison if we can, however we might be able to do, and welcome them successfully to Hornet Nation.
And I guess the same thing goes for identifying alums. And it sounds like you're pretty strong there with for 300 membership, 300 members involved. And so, because many times I'm out places and I run into people that went to the university and then didn't realize that we had an alumni association here, as much as we try to get the information out. So without a strong alumni, it's not a whole lot we can do for those students. And that's the goal of the Alumni Association. So you've been having success in identifying alums, and how involved those 300 members?
Well, I always tell you, it is a stretch because we live here in this area in a sea of many other HBCUs, but we
Yeah.
do know that we do have alumni in the area. And so, what we have found that has been successful for us is not only just community service, but the social aspect as well, is to be able to, you always have to have a hook. We all love our university, but sometimes you have to have a hook. And what we find is
Indeed.
we are able to mix our purpose in the community, mix our fundraising and the work that we do for the university with a little bit of fun. We're able to be able to attract some of our alumni members that we didn't know are here, that maybe have transplants to this area, and it gives us an opportunity to automatically welcome them into the fold. We are in a good situation, I believe, from an athletic perspective, because the MEAC office is here in this area. So sometimes we are the face sometimes as it relates to DSUAA in for athletic events. So when we, as you mentioned, those folks that like to behold a certain color, whenever there are games in town, we try to make sure that we are on their
With
ground
your colors.
and with our colors and our tent to welcome our alumni and make them feel a part. And certainly with the MEAC basketball tournament here in town, we also make a splash and make our presence known as well. So while we know that we are amongst a sea of other HBCUs, and this is not on our home court, we still like to make sure that everybody understands that the Hornets live in this area as well.
And y'all care a great sting, I guess,
A great thing, a great thing.
But and I say to those behold people, for real, the maroon is still. So that's always my reply to them, or that my answer to them. Wilma, I want to go back to you since you're the treasurer. Maybe you can tell the people how important is as far as alumni supporting the university, but now trying to create those endowments. So we, in the last couple of years, have created two endowments under the name of some of our older members. And those endowments that you create, no matter how big or small, last forever. And that's how most of the larger universities, you know can do anything they want. But talk about, and I think it's just now getting to the point where HBCUs or alumni association are starting to create endowment funds for their university, along with the fundraising they do. So how important that is for all our HBCUs to do that, but specifically Dale State.
Well, as you know, Dell State, they are really growing. The alumni is really increasing, and we have the largest alumni this year than we've had in the past. And many of the different organizations, they do have endowments. And I can speak for our class of 1981 at our 40th reunion. We wanted to do an endowment. And so we had planned and we set an amount. And so if all goes as planned this year, at homecoming in October, the class of 1981 will be able to present their endowment on the field at halftime. I know for sure that we, as a chapter here, we are really, really working hard to fundraise in order to provide scholarships. We have not really discussed about an endowment at this point, but we are working on that, and that's why we're having these fundraisers to make sure that we do well. Now, with the alumni relations and the other organizations and administrators at Delaware State, there are various endowments. I know people and some of the alumni may not be aware, but they do have a listing of all the endowments that you can go on and you can contribute to that, even if it's just $1 or if it's just $5. I think the most important thing is that we as alumni, we just need to get more on board to uh, supporting our alumni, supporting the institution, and making sure that we're giving back. And I know for me, as I can speak for myself, it took me several years to really chime in, and it was because of me being a military spouse and moving around, and I just really wasn't really engaged. But once I went back to homecoming a couple of times and really understood the significance and listened to different programs, listened to the different, the staff and administrators talking about endowments and things, it really clicked to me that, I really need to, I've been so blessed and fortunate that I really need to do better. And so I am going to do better. So moving forth in 2016, I have been faithfully financially, and I'm a life member now,
Mhm.
and give back generously as much as I can. But actually, what I would like to do, I would like the president to maybe expand a little bit more. She could probably have more experience than I do when it comes to these endowments. So I'll let Madam President take the floor.
Well, we do have many different endowments. One of the ones I would like to talk about a bit here for our chapter in particular, we had a devoted, beloved member of our chapter who the university has seen her as an alumni do many things for our university. And in fact, I want to say it was in 2021, she was named Delaware State University MEAC Alumnus of the Year.
Mhm.
And for that, her son is an honorary member of our chapter because of all of her lifelong work. So, what we are working towards is an endowment for her and to allow students to be able to go to the matriculate at the university in honor of her name. And so we work hard. I think the Alumni Association, in conjunction with the Delaware State University Foundation, has raised an enormous amount of money. And as Wilma has mentioned, there are many, many different endowments, and we continue to do so. Just today, we found out that the Athletic Booster Club will make a presentation at our homecoming for fully funded and vested endowment on October the 5th. So there's much work to do. And as Wilma says, all alumni of HBCUs, we must really roll up our sleeves and make sure that we keep our universities alive and moving and to give back as much as we can.
Yeah, I want to ask Vice President a question, but I have a note here where someone's watching on YouTube. His name is Frank Burton Jr., and
Yes.
he directed this to Madam President. I will look out for those students when they arrive at DSU. I am the athletic chaplain and hold monthly Bible study on campus as
Yes,
well. And they will be in good hands. So I hope that makes
Mhm.
y'all feel good.
yes,
Yes.
yes.
It's a, when he mentioned that thing about the monthly Bible studies, Virginia Union was one of the things that you had to do before you got out of there. No matter how good a student you were, we had weekly chapel credits we had to earn, and
Absolutely.
you could get them all in 1 year. But if you skated around and you thought you were going to march across that stage, and they say, "Hey, you don't have all your chapel credits," and you couldn't well, you could march, but you wouldn't get that degree until you completed those chapel credits. So,
Well, we have
so
a sorority
I think
sister.
that's important on HBCU campus that we keep
We have a
God
sorority
in our lives.
we have a sorority sister who is also a graduate of VUU, and she tells us about that all the time.
Mm,
Hmm.
As
Yep.
to
it's
um,
still going on. Yes.
absolutely, but as to Brother Burton, I will tell you that Monta and I, were on campus when we were all students together, and he does great work through our Office of Alumni Affairs and with the football team, and to keep the students as emerged. And if my memory serves me, he was also part of the Christian athletes group when he was a student. So we need that. The students today need to be able to maintain to be grounded, as well as be academically sound. But I think that in today's society, being able to be grounded in Christ and have a good, healthy balance of the academics and all other things that um, take place going on and when they're matriculating at a university is very important.
Yeah, I want to ask Ms. Fernell. You know, uh, most of us, or most people that are in alumni now, uh, they didn't get interested right after coming out or graduating or coming out of school, and it took them a while for the alumni to catch up to them. What would you say to present students now, how important it is to maybe get involved right away, or rather than wait, because we need those younger members involved in our chapters, in order for us to keep up with the times, for one thing, in order for us to really grow, because well, in my chapter, a lot of us were there in the '70s, so we won't be around forever. So we need we need those young bodies to come in there as soon as they can. So if you were just talking to some present students, seniors, get ready to come out, what would you say to them to try to get them involved at least within the first year or two after they graduate?
Well, I did. I had a conversation with a recent graduate because also as the vice president, I also try to solicit with new membership and have our membership to grow. And I think sometimes when they first get out of college, they're looking at starting their career. So they're career minded. They want to get out, they want to start their careers. And sometimes they think that being in the alumni chapter may take up more of their time.
Mhm.
So what I tried to speak when I spoke to this individual, I just said, come to our meetings. Hear what we do. You don't have to come to every meeting, but come to our chapter meeting. And when we have fundraisers or social events, come meet and talk. It's like a bond, and we're like a family. So you just have to spend that time, even though you're thinking it's taking a lot of your time, it's really not as much time as you think, and with your career and your families. So what I say, just give a little of your time, even if it's 1 hour a month.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes they think they have to give 5 and 6 hours. One hour a month, and just gradually move yourself into it. And also, what we like to do within our chapter, when we get the young individuals, we want to give them like a small role within the
Yeah,
chapter. It
that's
makes them
important to
feel
do.
like, yeah, you want to mentor them and bring them up to it. So that's what it's really all about. You want to foster that mentoring part of it. And I think if you can do that, and you can get them in, knowing that they're not working constantly, but we're showing them some of the things that we did and the way, and they're so good at coming up with new ways and ways that we can do things better. They are a lot more technical. So you want to enlist in all of those things. So I
Mm.
think it's important just doing all of that.
Yeah, and I think some of them come out thinking, "Well, I'm not financially ready." It's not like some
Absolutely.
other groups that come out. You really have to come out your pocket. But most alumni associations or chapters, I know, the monthly
The first
dues or
year,
yearly
we don't
dues are
even,
very
yep.
non, yeah,
Well, we
are
don't
very
even
affordable.
for the first year. We waive their dues for the first year
Mm.
coming into the alumni chapter. So I think that helps as well too, and they helps them get acclimated to the process. And at the same time, they're also um, trying to establish their career. So I think all those things are important.
Ladies, I'm gonna ask all three of you a question, and the first person that answers is gonna have to think on their feet, and the other two are gonna have a little extra time to think about it. But this question is going to take you back to your days on the campus, and what
Mm.
would be one of the most pivotal, one of the most. Let me not even try to say that word if it's not coming out right. One of the most important times on campus, or what was a great pivot for you, from your freshman year up into your senior year that might have made a difference in the way you looked at education or you were looking on your career. Some people uh, don't even declare a major until they're maybe a sophomore or junior in their college career. But what are some of the what was one of the most important moments that you can recall on campus that sort of made a difference in your direction in your life, being on campus at Dell State? And the first person I said gonna have to think on their feet. So I don't know who wants to go first. Don't let me pick.
Okay, I'll go
Well,
first.
okay, good. Very good. Come on,
Well,
Mata.
I was a math computer science major, and one of the things that I think that really challenged us was that we would do prep for college interviews. They even help us go on interviews. And I recall the time where it's probably about 10 of us that went to this um, job fair in Maryland. We went and we did on-site interviews. I think that was just really, even at such a young age, you think you know where you're going, you think you know what
Hmm.
you're doing, you think you are prepared. And then you get there, and even though through all that preparation, it was just good to meet with other adults that's now in these jobs, and it really gave us a sense of belonging, and also challenge us to do something a little different when we
Hmm.
go back to campus. So I
Right.
think that was really pivotal for me. Yeah,
Makes you take a little extra time on that report if you had to turn in, because you
absolutely.
realize how serious it was out there.
Yes.
Okay. Who's next?
I'll go next. I think for me, in 1980, becoming a residential assistant, I um, I always was very involved with different, committees, and I just love people. And my RA, my RA at the time, she really she was very she was kind of quiet, but she was very nice, very engaged, and she was always helping us, and anything that we needed, she was there for us. And I thought, well, maybe I can become an RA. And I tell you, I went for the interview and I got the job. And I well, I should say this too. Actually becoming a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated really taught me leadership, because
Mhm.
the year after I became a member, I was asked to be president of Delta Lambda chapter on the campus, and I became the president for that year. And then the following year, I became in residential assistance. But it really taught me a lot of leadership, and it also taught me how to really just deal with people and prepare me for the outside world. I've always thought I was a leader, always had those leadership qualities. But when I was at Delaware State, I really learned leadership, and it has even really taught me through my career as a retired registered nurse. And I recall about 2018 when I went to the MEAC, and the director of alumni relations at the time, Dr. Marcia, she said, "Oh, Wilma, I remember you were something else, girl. You was my RA, and you did not play." And I'm like, "Really? I was your RA? I don't remember." She said, "Oh yeah." She said, "You did not play." I'm like, "Oh my goodness." And we always laugh about that when she comes back to the MEAC. So yeah, becoming an RA and having those leadership skills to carry me throughout my lifetime was one of the greatest challenges there for me at Delaware State.
Yeah, and that was another reason, another advantage going to HBCU or smaller college where the teachers actually knew who you were.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You weren't
Yeah.
just a number.
Yes. Right.
So I'm last, and
Yeah,
I will say I'm going to
had,
summarize.
had plenty of time to think.
Yeah, well, I'll summarize a little bit of what Monta and Wilma said, because I've had all of the experiences that they mentioned. I would say that for me, our college career planning and placement department at that time was stellar, because they really worked with us and we were very well prepared. I was a marketing and business administration major, and wasn't quite sure which direction I was going into, but I knew I was going to go into business. And I will tell you that they really worked with us and had us prepared. Likewise, I also was an RA, and you had to be able. I was in the freshman dorm, and so you had to be able to lead those young and mentor other young girls, and to be able to lead them as well. And then the three of us are both all three of us are members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. We are we were undergraduates in the Delta Lambda chapter, and the graduate advisor that we had is Stella to no end. She's 90 years old, and she is oftentimes heralded in the North Atlantic region of our sorority for putting out more leaders in the sorority, whether it be undergraduate or graduate level. So we have greatly benefit from her tutelage. But what stands out for me is that throughout my 4 years at Delaware State University, the lecturers that we had and those that came to our campus were stellar. We sat amongst greats of African Americans in this country, from Arthur Ashe to you name it, in any genre, whether it be business, politics. We saw Jesse Jackson. We met Arthur Ashe. We met many greats from every genre uh, out there. And the fact that we got to meet the greats and have an opportunity to talk with them, to get advice from them, it still resonates with me. All of the people that in the course of the 4 years that I came across at a very early age. And it, just like any other HBCU, because I know that we all have that same experience. The level of confidence that our professors and the administrators have in their students, and they prepare us and have us forge ahead to be successfully is second to none. And so I think that those experiences, I sometimes can get having a conversation in my workplace, and I'll say I met X person when I was a student in college. I had a conversation with them. I had a passerby or got to ask a question. And I think that that is a base level understanding that you don't always come across, and it's invaluable.
Wow. And I won't put you on the spot without briefly telling you one of my experiences. And you mentioned about meeting these people. I remember meeting Nikki Giovanni on campus one time, and it was
I did.
amazing because at the time in the 70s, we were reading her poetry. Of course, she's a member of DST, but but anyway, you just walk in the cafeteria and there she was, and that was amazing. But my story was what got me interested in history, and I majored in history and government. Uh, we had a main classroom building called Ellison Hall, and one day I was walking out of there, and this older gentleman walked by, and somebody told me, "That's Dr. Ellison. That's who the building is named after." And I'm thinking, all these buildings on this campus probably named after people who are no longer here. And that's what made me think about or realize that we have a history walking by us every day, and a lot of times we don't pay attention to the people that are right here, and which is why we just renamed our alumni chapter the Mary Red Nelson Alumni Chapter after a longtime member who was on the board of trustees, and we purposely did that. We wanted her to know that we named the chapter after her and not wait for, to do it afterwards. But yeah, just being in that man's presence and all these years, those years there going to those classes, thinking it was named after somebody from the 1800s. And here, this man, it was in his 90s, late 90s, still walking on the campus. And I'm studying in a building that's named after him. So that was a moving point to me. As crazy as the 70s were, with Nixon being president and everything, but that sort of turned me around as far as knowing the importance of history and making sure our younger generation knows their history and know the people that paved the way for them.
Absolutely. And may I add, I would say that another note, she doesn't like to tell this, but Wilma is a descendant of the Michoud family. And Dr. Luna Michoud is one of the longest serving university presidents of the history of Delaware State University. And Wilma is a descendant of that family. So there's a lot of pride in not only her being a part of our alumni association, but also having matriculated on campus with her relative at the helm of the university. So that's a great point of history as well.
Yeah, that's another important point about HBCUs. A lot of times, if you attend the HBCUs, you're part of a legacy of a family that's been there.
Yeah.
My dad, went to Virginia Union, and he was actually on the board of trustees when I was there as a student,
Oh, wow.
which was, it was kind of, it was strange in the beginning, but I got used to it. But it's just something that's so important, and it's deep inside your heart and your soul if you're a member or you attended HBCUs.
Yeah.
So just had to throw that in. But before we go, and I want to thank you again, I want you to give the information again about the fundraiser that's coming up, and also make sure you tell how people can register or however they have to do it to become a member. And Wilma, make sure that you let them people know that stretch and get themselves ready. Don't think you know they can get up off the couch, or just because they walk around the block they can get out there and bowl. So, but go ahead. This is the time to sort of recap the
Recap.
fundraising.
Absolutely. So there's two ways you can pay. I know I
Mhm.
didn't mention that earlier. So you can pay through Cash App, and you can pay through Zelle. Cash App is $GHRDSU The Zelle is 757-707-7494. And as we mentioned earlier, we do ask that you send the team names or any questions to GHRDSUAAPRES@gmail.com.
And say that one more time for people that might
Sure.
have
Absolutely.
be missing a letter.
Sure. GHRDUAAPRES@gmail.com.
Okay, and you're registering as teams,
You can
not
register as
individuals
teams or
or
as an
individuals.
individual. Yes, you
So if you
can.
register individually, will you be bowling like that, or once you get there, you'll be
We'll
assigned to a
put you.
team?
You'll be assigned on a lane. Yes, it's 6
So
people per lane. So if
so
you register it, oh, go
if I'm
ahead.
the only one from Virginia Union, I might have to be on Norfolk State's team.
It may just be a family there, and you may bowl with a family. It doesn't necessarily mean you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just do that.
And you could be putting it.
I'm sure we're gonna have a team there.
Oh well, thank
We're
you so
very
much.
competitive. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Any way that maybe, I don't know. Do you want a flyer? Can we send you a flyer
Yeah,
or?
I think I have that, and I'm gonna post
Okay,
that. I'm gonna
okay,
post that on our pages and our YouTube page
awesome,
and every way I can.
awesome.
So,
Thank you so much.
and any opportunity, other opportunities you all get to do this, do it. Get the word out as often as much as you can
But we
because it's
thank
very
you.
Absolutely.
important.
Thank you so much. And I would say that Madam Vice President is very competitive, but we want to make sure that we have Norfolk State and Hampton and Virginia Union and Virginia State, Elizabeth City.
Elizabeth City.
Want we want
North
Howard,
Carolina
we
A&T.
want North Carolina.
Yeah, got to have those Aggies in there.
Those
The
Aggies.
Aggie pride.
And the reason why we're calling for them is because the Greater Hampton Roads chapter of Delaware State University Alumni Association, we have a team. And so we want to make it a healthy competition. So we're calling on all local alumni to have a team and come on out and strike for scholarships.
Okay, so watch out for the sting, right?
And the deadline is April the 2nd. So if they can just let us, yes, April the, I'm sorry,
April the
August,
2nd. We missed it.
August,
August
August the
7th.
2nd. Yeah,
Okay.
2nd,
Second.
the 2nd
Okay.
too. Yes.
Okay. All right. That can be fast approaching, y'all. So make sure you get those teams together. I'm
Yes,
gonna
get those
get in touch
teams.
with our president and make sure that and see how many people. Even if I have to go by myself and play with maybe it'd be some I see Northern Greyhounds there.
Okay.
That'll work too.
That'll work
All
too.
right.
Now we are very competitive.
Go State.
Okay, ladies, I want to thank you, and I hope the people you got the word out to people as far as your alumni association, the people that want to join, students that might be living in the area, and of course, especially the fundraiser. You want to get that word out. So at this time, before we go off, any last words or comments from either any one of you or all of you?
Just want to thank you for the invite and the invitation to be here and represent our university.
Thank you. Thank you for accepting.
Thank you
Yes.
so much.
Yes, we
All
thank
right,
you
ladies.
so much, Mr. Overton, and you have a good evening, sir.
Yes, and we'll be in touch. This is just the beginning of our relationship as far as alumni in the area. Because even after your fundraiser, we're talking about getting all the presidents together and having a conversation going forward how we can help each other and just having getting together every once in a while and having fun.
Absolutely.
That's all a part of it too. You know,
Yeah.
we all in here together. We're competitive, but we all in here together.
We're all
HBC.
in
All
here
right. Like one
together.
big family. All right. Yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
indeed, lady.
All
And I
right.
want to say to everybody, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share this information on the show. And if you didn't get up, get up. We have an early morning show, so I'm confused. But this is the evening show. So if you didn't get a chance to watch us because you're waiting to watch the president, the former president, God bless you if you are. But anyway, make sure that you let people know they can watch this on our YouTube channel. They can watch it on Instagram, and they can watch it on Facebook and X. So thanks again, ladies. We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
time. Take
Thank
care.
Thank
you.
you.
Have a
Have a
good
great
evening.
evening.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye
Good
bye.
night, everyone.